Hello everyone and welcome to this week's edition of Women's World. Today we'll be discussing the government's attention to women's empowerment, what the state has done in order to empower Egyptian women, and efforts by President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi to empower women. This will be the main topic today, and we'll be featuring a special report about this very important topic, and we will be discussing it with our guest today, Dr. Mahal Mahgoub, a human resources expert. But first we're going to take a look at the press. Welcome back. Mariam Wael, team leader in Actis Egypt, winner of the first place in the Actis World Cup competition in California. Mariam Wael graduated in 2019 from the Faculty of Economics and Political Science, Cairo University, and she joined in Actis 2 years ago as member of the presentation team responsible for presenting the team's project in the national competition. Her team won second place, and in 2019, the team won the Actis World Cup competition in California for their project Rosie. Minister of Culture Ines Abdeldaim has issued a decision to assign Souaid Shawqi as head of the Egyptian Film Center for a period of 1 year. Shawqi graduated from the Higher Institute of Cinema with honors, and she then obtained a master's degree in 2001. She then received a PhD with excellence in 2010 on the problem of temporal construction in contemporary cinematic narratives. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to watch a special report about President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi's efforts to empower women. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi's era has witnessed real empowerment of women, as Egyptian women have made a lot of achievements in the field of serving society and environment, as well as various other fields. President el-Sisi declared 2017 as the year of the Egyptian woman.
من أجل أعلى درجات الاندماج الاجتماعي لكافة الفئات، وإيمانا من الدولة المصرية بأن الاستقرار والتقدم تحقق إلا من خلال ضمان مشاركة فاعلة للمرأة في كافة أوجه العمل الوطني، وفي إطار إعلان عام 2017 عاما للمرأة.
Moreover, there are 6 women in the Egyptian government, 19 female MPs, 66 women judges, and in addition to several female governors. Women's empowerment in decision-making process was highlighted in various occasions, including almost all youth forums and conferences. President el-Sisi affirmed that men have to be engaged in the process of empowering women at every turn in life, crediting Egyptian women's role in building up generations. He further said that the political keenness to empower women will not be effective unless the social culture towards women is changed. The president said, during the June 30 revolution, Egyptian women were most aware of the dangers facing them and the future of their children. The year 2011, the year of the Egyptian uprising, was a turning point in the history of Egypt for both men and women. At the time, aspirations for a societal gender transformation were high. 8 years on, Egyptians continue to discuss the challenges, hurdles, opportunities, and occasional progress made towards increasing the rights and the role of women in Egypt. Ever since 2011, the government has been celebrating women's achievements and pointing out the prominent examples of empowered women in ministerial positions in parliament and as judges. Women were active in the 2011 uprising, both out on the street and later as voters eager to have their voices heard. The Egyptian National Women's Strategy 2030 envisions that by 2030, Egyptian women will become active contributors to the achievement of sustainable development in a nation that guarantees their constitutional rights, ensures their full protection, and provides without discrimination political, social, and economic opportunities that enable them to develop their capacities and achieve their full potential. There has been great progress for women in the upper echelons of state power. In 2013, there were 3 government ministers. Now, in 2019, there are 6 women leading the ministers of social solidarity, tourism, culture, investment and international cooperation, migration and Egyptian expatriates, and finally planning, monitoring and administrative reform. In parallel to the progress achieved on the national ministerial level, 6 women ministers, President el-Sisi in February 2017 appointed for the first time a woman governor, Nadia Abdo, for the governorate of Beira. She is the only woman in a pool of 27 governors. Welcome back, everyone. Today we are talking about the government's and the state's efforts to empower women. As we all know, during the past few years, under the leadership of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, we have seen women empowered in various fields. We have seen women joining the cabinet as ministers, also becoming governors, joining the judiciary, in addition to many other fields. And today we have also with us one of the successful Egyptian women, Dr. Maha Mahboub, and she is an expert in human resources. It's always great having you with us, Dr. Maha. Thank you very much for coming.
Thanks.
Now, let's start with you. How do you view the current status of women in Egypt?
I think the current status of women in Egypt is perfect because prior the women in Egypt did not have any rights or maybe quota in political life. She was not empowered, economic empowered. But nowadays, after the great support of President Sisi, she has been empowered, even though, for example, in political life, prior the President Sisi ruling time, she was holding about 2% in the Egyptian parliament. Now she is representing about 15%. On the other hand, nowadays she is occupying 25% of the ministry cabinets. We have 8 professional ministers. Economically wise, she has been empowered in entrepreneurship, creating new job opportunities. Even in the new investment law, it has specialized articles for gender equality for women, how to empower women to invest and to be equal with men. So I think these times is booming for Egyptian women.
Indeed, and you are an example since you were chosen among 50 women worldwide or globally as you contributed significantly in the empowerment of women. So tell us more about this nomination.
Actually, during my last 15 years, I was playing an important role in education, training, women empowerment, even in political life. So I've developed and trained thousands of women all over Egypt, outside Egypt. I trained them about entrepreneurship, how to create job opportunities for women, how to empower their capacities, even though for rural or marginal women. So how to fix their needs, how to develop their capabilities, and how to open the door for them, either by opening their new projects or to just to qualify them to the labor market or providing job opportunities for them.
Yes.
On political aspects, I was head of women in one of political parties. I was heading 35 Egyptian women, and I was giving them structure and strategies how to develop and empower other women all over Cairo governorates.
In rural areas, Dr. Ma?
In all Cairo governorates, in rural, modern areas, every areas.
Yes.
So in the last periods and nowadays, I used to qualify and train a lot of people, even trainers. I train of the trainers, and those trainers, they are train other people.
Yes.
For example, I have project with the Ministry of Youth, and I've trained more than 250 staff, and they trained 70,000 youth all over Egypt in 11 governorates, and it's considered nowadays as national projects of Egypt, how to qualify them to being entrepreneurs, to open their own projects, and so on.
That's excellent, Dr. Maha. And you're talking here about political as well as economic empowerment, which actually go hand in hand.
Yes, of course. It's connected with together. If you would like to have political stability, you have to empower economic side.
So when it comes to political empowerment, do you provide training for women who would like to become members, councils, for example, or occupy leadership positions in their governorates?
Yes, I used to build their capacity by providing them training programs in decision making, leadership, and as well the party was having a partnership with the Women Council and so on. Some of my followers just joined the Egyptian Council and many areas. So if you build up, actually I consider that how to develop the economic and the management skills, entrepreneurial skills, and so this will lead the empowerment of political sides.
Of course. Let's talk more about entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs, because this morning we were discussing SMEs and enterprises, small and medium enterprises, as an integral part of the Egyptian economy.
Yeah.
So how do you see the role of women played in this regard, and the government support for those women?
Actually a lot of ministries and areas are supporting women in entrepreneurship. For example, the Ministry of Investment is supporting women. They have a project called Your Idea is Your Company, and they have facilitations, financial facilitations for women to start up their own business. The Ministry of Solidarity, they have different initiatives for supporting women. One of them is called for SETAC. They are providing work opportunities, and Your Future with Your Hand is they are building the capacity for women in entrepreneurship and so on. Miss Mida, of course, they are the strategic partner to a lot of entities with international donors and other entities, and they are emphasizing and developing youth and women especially. So a lot of initiatives all over Cairo or Egypt now are supported women.
Okay. Now do you see the role of the private sector in empowering women as well?
Yeah, the private sector is playing an important role for supporting women. Other big entities, big private sector entities, they set quota for, or in their policy manuals for to be specialized for women. For example, maybe they set 30% of the leadership positions to be assigned for women. In government here in Egypt, we can see that most of positions are held by women. So setting quota or how to make sure about gender equality and providing more jobs for women are very important nowadays, and we are working in how to build the capacity of women, how to employ strategic seats and to be a decision maker and a good leader in the society.
Dr. Maha, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi in various occasions talked about Egypt's vision in empowering women, especially that also Egypt is the chair of the African Union 2019, and there are so many lessons to learn from Africa when it comes to empowering women. How do you see that?
One part of the strategic vision of Egypt 2030 is economic empowerment, decent jobs, entrepreneurship, empowering women, gender equality, and so on. And from these goals that we are working how to implement these goals in Egypt's strategy 2030, and it has been emphasized in 4 areas: economic, political, decision making, and social. So in these 4 areas we are working together in how to implement and to apply the sustainable development of Egypt and its vision 2030 by these areas.
And what still needs to be done, Dr. Maha? It's a long way that we need to go, and yes, we have achieved a lot. But do you think that there's still work needs to be done?
Yes, of course. I think the Egyptian woman is very strong, and she is capable enough to be a leader, to be a housewife, to be a good employee or entrepreneur, but she needs more awareness about how to build their capacity, how to discover the strengths of Egyptian women in order to have a good direction. And I think that the building the awareness, and I think for the time being we need to build their capacity for being a good mother and a good woman in Egypt, because if she's going to raise up a good generation, so I think the Egyptian people will be perfect, because this is the first stage. So playing an important role as a housewife or raising up a good generation for the future, and in the second level, that how to be empowered if she's going to support her family or her husband by working either formal job or as entrepreneur to have her own business.
Actually, this is what President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi tackled during his speeches, talking to women directly and praising their role in the society as mothers, as wives, as leaders, as decision makers. How do you see this shift in speech, talking to women directly by the head of state?
Actually, the President Sisi is appreciating women, and he emphasized that we have to respect and appreciate the Egyptian woman. And he did not deny that the role of Egyptian women during the 2011 and 36.
Yes.
The Egyptian women are very wise enough in order to determine their future, their career, the stability of political status in Egypt, how to select a good leader who can lead the country during the critical period nowadays that we are facing, that maybe some troubles, but the Egyptian woman, they are very strong in order to control the situation and to direct the remaining of other people into the right direction.
Indeed, Dr. Man Mahgoub, expert in human resources, thank you very much for being with us today in this edition of Women's World.
Thank you.
And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. I'm Hala Al-Hamalawi signing off for now.